and welcome back to Replay, the show where games are art. We finished our little round-the-world tour with Mog, and now it's time to explore the Imperial Base and the cave to the Esper World. However, immediately upon entering the Imperial Base, we discover it's empty, abandoned. This adds a little extra element of mystery to this next bit of the game. Why isn't the Empire here? They've clearly carefully locked up their treasure behind them, so it seems like they knew they were leaving. Did they know we were coming? Why are they letting us through then? Now obviously, if you played the game, you know the answer. It's because they want exactly what everyone else wants, which is for Terra to open the way to the Esper world. So let's talk about the cave to the sealed gate, because this is a dungeon that is both thematically very interesting and kind of a little bit annoying. It's got some neat puzzles in it, but it's also very long, got some very nasty enemies, as witness what confused Mog is capable of. And it's kind of visually repetitive. At least for this first part of it, this is background we've seen before, cave sprite elements, or tile elements that we've seen before. And we're being, brutally murdered. In fact, we are on the verge of death already. So, very shortly, there's now no one to keep us alive, but Confuse Mog is now dead. Is that my first game over of the game? I think it might be. So there's been a sharp difficulty spike here, but then again, you should expect that with liches. I mean, liches are zombie wizards, effectively. They're powerful dudes. Alright, let's skip back to that dungeon. Okay, and we are back at the cave concealed gate. Hopefully we won't die in the first encounter this time. During the interval, I skipped over going to the desert mare here to get Mog one more dance that he didn't pick up the first time around. The desert dance that I've already forgotten the name of. That wasn't an option during the world tour, so just picked it up now by fighting a couple of fossil fangs. To kind of continue the theme of this part of the world, as we'll see, there's a lot of undead enemies around here. Practically everything here, as we descend into this cavern, is undead, as witness liches again. So, what's interesting here is that this is kind of a traditional desert area, that's what it's called. This is kind of a traditional part of the epic narrative, or the hero's journey, as it's sometimes called, or as I've stated elsewhere. I don't really care for that term, or really that theory very much. That said, epic heroes do kind of have a tendency to have a part in their story where they descend into an underworld. And that's clearly what's going on here. And Terra is clearly being set up as an epic hero. She is, she's got this essentially demigod status. She's half Esper. She's, fighting to establish a new world order that defeated the Empire. She is, striding across the world with vast powers unknown to others. She's powerful. She's epic. And she's a heroic figure. She's being set up by the Returners as kind of a messiah figure. I mean, her mother's name is Madonna, for God's sake. And the Japanese, her name is Tina, which, as I mentioned last episode, short for Christina, as in Christ. She's a messianic figure, she's an epic figure, she's a heroic figure. So of course she has this descent into the underworld going on. Now, there's various theories on what exactly the descent into the underworld represents. Oftentimes it's supposed to be like a confrontation with death, a coming to terms with mortality, a moment of darkness and despair which permits the hero to prove their worth by overcoming it. But in this case, I think it's something a little different. This is a very literal underworld. It is a cave full of dead things and ghosts. And I think it's taking on an actually fairly literal form, so to speak. This is the underworld, the descent into the underworld that is about confronting the dead. It's about the past. It's haunted. And what are ghosts? Ghosts are, as I discussed, I believe, in several episodes back when we did the Phantom Train, ghosts are relics of our past. Ghosts are bits of the past that continue to exist into the present. They're time travelers, essentially. We are haunted by memory. And that's what Tara lacked at the beginning of the game, is her memories. She began the game with total amnesia. She's recovered some of that, but she's still on this quest to find out who she is. She's still on this quest to become something other than question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. And so that test takes her into the underworld, the realm of memory, the place of ghosts, the place that is haunted by the past. Oops. So that she can uncover her past, so that she can confront and encounter it and become one with it. Whew, that's a kind of annoying little puzzle. It's a good puzzle, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a pain to get through. And so, since for Tara, the past is that she's half Esper, that she was born in the Esper world, the descent to the underworld is also the return to the place of her birth. It's a little unsurprising that the Esper realm is connected to the underworld in this way. For starters, that's kind of a Final Fantasy tradition. In Final Fantasy IV, both the realm of the fairies and the realm of the summon monsters, both of which have a lot in common with the Espers, especially the summon monsters, most of which are Espers. Both of those are found in caves within the literal underworld, the gigantic cave under the surface of the earth where the dwarves live. Here, but there's also another sense, which is that both the world of the dead and the fairy realm are sort of parallel worlds. They exist separately from our world, but interpenetrate with it. This is something. It's interesting because it's a point of commonality between certain Western European cultures, especially like Northwestern Europe and the British Isles. It's an element that their cultures have in common with Japanese culture, of all things, which is that the Fae, or the fairies, or the elves, or whatever you want to call them, are similar in a lot of ways to the Japanese yokai. Both exist in a liminal space between our world and another spiritual world. Both are intensely magical. Both are sometimes hostile, sometimes benign, always unpredictable. And both are expressions of the power and weirdness of the world in which we find ourselves. So, given how much the Final Fantasy series are this juxtaposition of something that's very much rooted in Japanese culture. The particular individual RPG is, a Japanese take on a Western construct. It's not that surprising that we find in this hybrid of Western and Japanese thought one of the major points of commonality between them in the form of the espers behaving very much like yokai or fae. And in her, I guess, connection with them, Terra, that enhances Terra's role as the hero. She is someone who is connected with this other world. But it also increases, for lack of a better term, her magical girlness. We talked last time about how Terra's morph ability is this power from another plane that causes her to spin around and glow and change costume and gain magical power. Again, she's a little old for magical girl, but, she's 20, 22, somewhere in that range. But still, that's pretty clearly what she is. She's a magical girl, which, in 1994, that's pretty much the perfect time to make the main character of your RPG a magical girl. But, like a lot of magical girls, her power is themed after some other realm, some other plane. Sailor Moon has, the ancient kingdom of the moon, and the shining, whatever it's called, crystal kingdom of the future. Don't use instant death moves on the undead, that never works. Oh, it worked. Carry on, Mob. So there's that aspect, Sailor Moon has that. Card Sakura, not so much, but Pretty Sammy draws her magical power from other realms. It's pretty common. Going back to, I think it's Creamy Mommy who got her power from the Mirror Kingdom. I will double check that, and if I'm wrong, make a note of it in the ending credits. But definitely one of the early magical girls got her power from the realm behind the mirror. So Terra is drawing her power similarly from this other realm. She's drawing it from the Esper realm, this magical other world. Now I've skipped on a bit to where we pull a switch in basically lots of complicated switches to open doors and such like, and trigger a fight with a very powerful enemy that I believe will be a random encounter later in the game, but is essentially a mini-boss here, called the Ninja. He uses a lot of abilities that ninjas use in past games. Goes down without too much trouble. He hit pretty hard, but he went down pretty easy, which makes sense for a ninja. And he gives us a clue about an item hidden elsewhere in the dungeon. Apparently this place is attracted to treasure hunters. And here's where things get a bit complicated. As first we have this invisible passage, which existed in Final Fantasy 4 and 5, but in both of those games there was a way to make it invisible. Here in FF6, as far as I know, it cannot be done. There is no way to be able to see those kinds of hidden passages, and as you saw right there, that was the only way to proceed. Now it did indicate kind of the entrance to it with that opening in the rock, but we were given no information whatsoever on where to go from there. It was trial and error, which we knew with random encounters is really not. This is part of what I mean about this dungeon being, it has good concepts, but it's also kind of annoying. Ooh, here too. Very useful ability, Terra just... I believe... No, I still got a ton to learn from the one. And... Ooh. How am I gonna get to that? Ooh. Okay. I appear to have rendered that chest inaccessible. That's a problem. But it also seems like there wasn't any way I could hit those switches that wouldn't do that, so maybe that was just a tease. We'll find out in a bit. Okay, getting the switch. Ooh. What have we here? This is most likely what the ninja was referring to. I think. Aha! And there is one of the best weapons in the game. The game doesn't recognize it as being good. It will, I believe, never equip it if you use Optimum, but it is actually really powerful. The ammo weapon is an evolving weapon. Essentially, its power is based on your current hit points. And the higher the current HP, not as a percentage of your maximum, but an absolute value. So right now for Terra, it's a pretty potent little dagger. As her max HP and her current HP go up, it will get more and more powerful. Eventually being potentially one of the most powerful weapons in the game. This is interesting that we get it here. The Atma weapon, we will find out much later in the game, was created by from the power of this ancient being Atma, who is never given much in the way of story or indication of what he really is. Oh good, that's how you do it. Yeah, let's hit that switch. Or not? Did that do anything? Whatever. So there's some interesting stuff going on there. The fact that the Atma weapon, was created by this ancient being's power, but seems to draw power from the person using it. The fact that later we encounter another Atma weapon, which is sort of a cross between, like, it's got elements that are kind of monstrous, but it's also got some obviously mechanical parts. I think we're looking at a way in which tools and beings, living things, especially powerfully magical living things, are in some way, for lack of a better term, associated. There's a degree to which they are alike, or in which a very powerful machine becomes like a living thing. And I think that's important, because we've seen that the Esper's powers are being drained to power magic. And I think it's plausible that it works the other way around. Here and there are little hints in the game, and I'll point them out as we encounter them, that suggest the possibility that the Espers were created initially, and that they were originally weapons that evolved into independent, living, thinking creatures through the power of magic. Which is interesting because it means that originally magic had a source other than the Espers, and as we'll learn later on, that's straightforwardly true. But the process by which that source became the Espers is a little bit muddy. Were they created by the goddesses themselves to fight in some kind of a war against each other? Were they created by humans using the power of the goddesses? It's not really clear. The point is, we are getting hints here to stuff that will be significant through the rest of the game. That this descent to the Underworld is providing us information about where things are headed. And we shouldn't be surprised at that, because that is part of the traditional role of the descent into the Underworld, is the acquisition of wisdom. In particular in the Aeneid, when Aeneas descends into the Underworld, he encounters, I believe, Tiresias, but I might be mistaken about that. It might be another famous ancient Greek seer. But from him, he learns quite a bit of useful information about his destiny and about where things are headed. Dante's Inferno is entirely about a descent to the Underworld for the acquisition of wisdom and learning about his own destiny, as well as an opportunity for Dante to stick everyone he dislikes in hell. It's not an uncommon thing, and it's happening here in this game, but in a not entirely direct manner, which is really kind of the first hint that this is a descent into the Underworld, but perhaps not as we know it. Which is significant, because as we get to the end of this dungeon, it'll become clear that this apparent epic we've been setting up might be going in a slightly different direction than we expected. So, after a good 45 minutes and quite a lot of puzzle solving, we've come to the end of the sealed cave and find ourselves before the gate to the Esper world, the one we saw sealed in Terra's flashback. It's time for now Terra to do her thing. She's completed the passage through the Underworld and is now ready to reconnect with her past, to face that which haunts her. Or not, because here's Kefka to screw everything up. This is, of course, as a clown, a joker, a trickster, something he does. He takes the predictable, the tried and true narratives, things we expect to happen, and disrupts them. So, we've completed the descent into the Underworld, but we're not getting Terra's confrontation with her past at all. We've been used. We've been here, as Kefka's explaining right now, so that Terra can open the gate for them, and now they can just kill us. Because Kefka's a jerk. Yeah, so now we have to fight Kefka in order to ensure that Terra can open the gate and have this confrontation that she needs. See, and that's part of what I was talking about last time, how powerful Log is. That was just a free Cure 2 thing. Pretty potent. It's also very funny to me that we're now having this on a pastoral background thanks to Log. But Kefka's presence alone is enough to disrupt all of this. From the moment he showed up, this has ceased to be the standard, epic hero descent into the Underworld thing. So we're not getting knowledge, we're not getting Terra getting to meet her past. We're getting what Kefka is an incarnation of. We're getting an eruption of chaos, which, as I've stated before in this game, is equated to magic. And as being, as the magical beings, of course, the Espers, when we open the gate, it unleashes chaos into the world. Note the first one that came out was a dragon. Dragons are, of course, primordial symbols of chaos. The ancient Egyptian god Ra brought order out of the primordial chaos by defeating the dragon Apep. Marduk brought order to chaos and created the world by defeating the dragon Tiamat. Dragons have always been a symbol of chaos. And because that is distinctly a Western dragon. Eastern dragons are a little bit different, but Western dragons have always been symbols of chaos. And now we are sealed out by the crest of the Mushroom Kingdom. Yes, I know it's not, but that's what it's just a random fall of rocks. That's what it's always looked like to me. And we're essentially done. We can't get into the sealed world, we can't complete Terra's quest, and those espers which did emerge have gone berserk. Thankfully, all this chaos has opened up a new opening, and we can go directly back to the beginning of the dungeon. With only one encounter along the way, thankfully. And Mog is confused again, which is exactly what started the time they killed me. Except now Sabin is confused as well. Oh, this is going to go splendidly. Yeah, I think we need to bring out the unicorn. We need help here. Is this my first time summoning an Esper? I'm not sure. But at least it cured all the confuse, even if Terra is dead now. Still, that went rather better than my encounter with this party in this room on my first attempt on this dungeon, so, there's that. Healing them wasn't so great, though. Okay, let's get the heck out of here and hope we don't encounter anything else on the way. To the Imperial Base. On second thought, let's save and then go to the Imperial Base. Yeah. And because I'm neurotic about it, I will save twice. Make that 3 times. And sure, why not? Let's save on another slot. Just to be safe. Okay. Let's get through here. Oh! Doc is waiting for us. I should hope the Imperial citizens would run off terrified. A bunch of monsters, gigantic monsters, just emerged from, the ancient sealed cave to the east. That's terrifying. And now comes the thing which a few episodes back I alluded to. That, while the Empire was in many ways readable as Empire in general, as the US, as Nazi Germany, here comes the scene where it is very readable as Japan. Because remember, this whole game has been setting up the magic of the Espers as a nuclear weapons metaphor. Not quite to the level of an allegory, but the metaphor is still clearly there. Especially the way in which they caused the apocalypse, which led to the post-apocalyptic world. This is now the post-apocalyptic world. Well, the Espers are loose. The nukes have been unleashed, and they hit the Empire. They wreak massive damage on the Empire, as we're about to see. Oh yeah, and the airship crashes. The first of roughly 6 billion times. It's still nothing compared to the number of airship crashes in FF3. So down goes the airship. Meanwhile, the Espers are trashing Vector, as we will see when we eventually get there. So like I was saying, Japan is, of course, the only country to ever have nuclear weapons used against it in war. And it definitely had an impact. It is frequently credited with bringing about the end of the Second World War, causing Japan's surrender. I think that's fairly likely to have been a significant factor. The fact that Japan was running out of resources with which to fight the war is likely also an element. But the nukes are still a very important factor. And they caused Japan to pursue peace, is the general narrative given there. Confronted with nuclear weapons, they decided to make peace with their enemies and release their imperial holdings. Well, as we will see, that's what's going to happen with this empire. But first, let's just take a look at the damage. And so, here we are. What was once this incredibly imposing, mighty, ominous city of steel and gears is now burning wreckage, overrun with Narsh and Returner soldiers. A couple of shops are still open and selling stuff, mostly worse than what I've already got. I don't think there's been any change here, but in general, the place is just trashed. There's not even, none of the citizens we saw in the streets before here. It's been taken by the returners, who are milling around confused because there's nothing for them to do. They came expecting a battle, and instead there's this. As Artis says, it was like this when they got here. What are they going to do now? What is the Empire going to do? And I like that it's the same music as before. The first time we heard this track is we approached the Empire. It was ominous for us. Now it's ominous for them. And on that note, I will see you all next time on Replay, the show where games are art. See you all then, as we get into the negotiations to end the war of the Empire. And I'm sure after that, the game will be over and everything will be hunky-dory, right? Sure. See you all then. Bye.